What is up, and welcome back to Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers. As always, I am your host, Brandon Silvers. We have made it through the first weekend of the women's NCAA tournament, and we're headed to the Sweet 16. And I'm still not any clearer on who's going to win it all. My bracket is barely hanging on. Luckily, I'm joined today by someone who knows the game from every angle. She got buckets at Northern Illinois, where she was three-time All-MAC, continued playing professionally before embarking on a collegiate coaching career. Now she covers the sport at all levels, including as the color analyst for the Missouri Tigers. Super excited to be joined by Marke Freeman. Marke, thanks for coming on.
Oh, man, I got to pay you for that intro, Brandon. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on.
No, I was sweating because you've done a lot, and I was like, I didn't even know if I had the cardio to get it all out. I was like, oh, man, I should have got on the treadmill a little bit more.
Well, some of that stuff may need to be fact-checked, but I do appreciate the intro.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and hop into it. The first weekend was crazy in great ways and in terrible ways. A lot went on. What were your big takeaways from that first weekend of games?
Women's basketball is a must-watch first and foremost.
Yes.
Are you not entertained is the saying. A lot of fun to watch, from 100-point scoring games to comebacks by Maryland in the 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter to come back and win it, and a big-time game to watch. And then you had some things that were very unfortunate, like the going down of one of the top to watch, whether men's or women's side of the game right now, in JuJu Watkins with her season-ending ACL tear. So a lot of interesting things have happened, but all the more to watch going into the Sweet 16.
Now, they hit us with two back-to-back games on Sunday and Monday with the Kentucky-Kansas State game, where, man, I thought Kentucky had them. In Kansas State, they just kept on fighting and pulled it out. And then you're right, that Maryland-Bama game, I don't know if I could survive too many more of those. I'm not even a fan really of either, but that had me stressed.
Oh, yeah. And Kansas State has proved why they deserve to be in the conversation and in the Sweet 16. But even still, you hate to see a team go down like Kentucky, new coach, Georgia playing at the level that she was playing at, and then to be at point blank range and to miss a shot that she's made a million times. Very unfortunate, but that's what happens in March, and that's why it's called madness. But I think how she recovered from that loss and the conversation that she had during press conference, where she just shared, like, hey, one basket doesn't speak for the 5 years that I've given to this game collegiately, and it does not. Phenomenal player, and I'm excited to see her play at the next level.
You and me both. But yeah, that was brutal to see, but I'm glad. Seems like she's got a great perspective on it all. So you love to see that. And then you mentioned the JuJu injury, and that was just terrible to see. I mean, I turned the game off after that. What is it like being in the locker room and having to continue to play when you see one of your teammates go down like that? Have you ever experienced that?
Fortunately, I haven't had anything as bad as an ACL injury, but I've had my injuries where, and if you play the game long enough, it's inevitable. And I've had my injuries where I've been sidelined and I've had to find ways to add value from the sideline, but it's sore. It's a sore way to watch the game, because a fierce competitor like JuJu Watkins, who has given so much to this game. And I mean, what's not to love about her as a leader, as a player? She just invests so much. She's an outstanding leader, and she's shown that in her second year at USC. But seeing what she's given to the game on and off the court, and for this to happen, it's so unfortunate. And it's hard to watch your friends, your family, the people that you've been in the trenches with, go to war at the most important point in the season without you. And so I can only imagine how she felt watching it from the locker room or from the training room when she first went down. But if I know anything about JuJu, this is only going to make for a stronger comeback. This is only one section in her amazing book that is being written, and she will remember that she is the author of that book. And so I'm so excited to see what she continues to do before this U.S. team, and how they rallied, the performance we got from Kiki. I think we're all about to see here at the tail end of March and going into April, how good that USC team is. And yes, JuJu was a major part of that team, but just a part of it, a major part, but a part of it. And there's still other great pieces, even the youth of USC, those freshmen that they have and what they're capable of doing later on in this tournament. And so really, really exciting to see. But I have to speak to the morale and the love and support around JuJu when she went down. Just going through my social media, I don't know, it was jerking for tears personally. And just to see the love that she got from other people that she's played with, played against, people at different levels from around the sport, people that just fans that watch the sport. Yeah, it was beautiful to see. And so I'm excited to see her bounce back.
It really was. And you feel for her just on like a human level, knowing, I mean, I wasn't a Marke Freeman or a JuJu Watkins, but just growing up hooping, and like the love of the game she has, and she's always in the gym, always working on her craft, and to have that taken away from her, I can't even imagine what that feels like for her right now. So I am glad that she got all of that outpouring of love and support. And you're right, I'm looking forward to the comeback, because you know the type of player, and you get glimpses from afar of the type of person she is, and you know it's going to be something serious.
For sure. And Brandon, we have to say something here as well, because scrolling through social media and seeing all the love and support that she had was absolutely beautiful. But there was something else that I saw that I think should also be spoken to as well. And just some of the unfortunate comments about Mississippi State.
Yes.
I've been fortunate to watch Mississippi State, just covering the SEC and seeing what they've done throughout this season. They've had a phenomenal season, and they have outstanding players, and they are well coached. The character and the integrity of that program has never been in question. And you, as well as I, know that was basketball. It was Correct. A basketball play, an unfortunate one, but it was a basketball play. And that's what comes with the sport. And basketball players, they knew it was a basketball play. There was nothing malice about it. And in fact, when JuJu went down, I saw Mississippi State players kneeling in what I took as prayer, and just showing their love and respect for JuJu, even though she was on the other side of the line. But whenever you see a player that has given the game as much as JuJu has, there's a place in your heart that feels for her. And nothing about that play, I've watched it. I only needed to see it once, but I've watched it multiple times, and knowing the players, knowing the program, knowing the game of basketball, everything about that was just simply basketball. And unfortunately, injury is something that comes along with it.
You are so right, because I said I turned the game off. I did not want to watch any more basketball after that for that evening. And so when I woke up and saw that kind of building on social media that it was a dirty play, I was shocked. It looked bad because JuJu went down, but JuJu went down because she tore her ACL.
Yes.
Like, that's what happened. I've seen that play 1,000 times. If she hadn't torn her ACL, I don't think she gets knocked down to the ground. She probably ends up finishing getting an and one or something like that. Like, it was that was just hoops.
Just basketball.
Yes. So, yeah, hopefully, like you're saying, a quick recovery, a great comeback for JuJu. But yeah, everyone needs to calm down with how they're coming at these kids on social media. But I don't know if we're going to convince any of those people. I hope y'all aren't watching. But if y'all are watching, listen to us and tone it down.
It was a basketball play, peeps.
Yes.
It was a basketball.
And speaking of basketball play, Sweet 16. I need you to help me figure this out. First of all, you cover the SEC, record tying 6 SEC teams in the Sweet 16. What is it about the SEC that prepares these teams to succeed in this tournament?
They're battle tested night in and night out. I've had an opportunity to talk to Kim Caldwell. I've talked to Kim Mulkey, and we've had multiple conversations just about how strong the SEC is. There are 6 teams from the SEC in the Sweet 16. If that doesn't give you perspective, I don't know what will. And watching these teams battle night in and night out, there's nothing they haven't seen. And when you look at these teams, all of them have a dynamic duo. or they have a trio that they can consistently count on. And so when you look at the Sweet 16, that's going to be a common denominator with some of the league's best, right? The tournament's best, whether you're talking about Malaysia Fuwaili and Joyce Edwards, right? Whether you're talking about Pow Pow and Cast, whether you're talking about Madison Scott and Todd Williams from Ole Miss, going over to LSU, Anissa Morrow and Flau'jae Johnson. You can count on them night in and night out. But now you're running to other programs that have a duo or a trio as well. And that's where you run into your Hannah Hidalgos of Notre Dame or your Olivia Miles. And then you go over to UConn and you got Paige Bueckers and Sarah Strong. And then you can also add FUD to that as well. And so it's just jam-packed with pure talent, experience, fun, dynamic, tenacious players that are all about the smoke.
Yes. And just looking at the slate, can you recall a Sweet 16 this packed with talented teams where I really can't point to any team that's truly standing head and shoulders above anyone else?
No, I would say this is definitely the first time in a long time. I think going into last year's Sweet 16, everybody was pointing at South Carolina. But recently, South Carolina has proven that they are beatable as well. And I think the first time people saw blood, fear decreased. You know, when you saw South Carolina on your schedule, many teams just tucked their chin and walked away and kind of counted it as a loss. We've come far, right? But nowadays, it's anybody's ball game. And so, it makes for an incredibly fun game to watch. But I don't know the last time that I've seen a tournament this jam-packed with talented players.
It is ridiculous in the best way possible. All right, do you want to go just game by game? And I need to get Marke's thoughts on these matchups.
Listen, we can do this, but I'm going to let you know there's this expectation that you got to help me figure this thing out too, because I don't know who's going to win it at this point.
Yeah, we're going to make it happen. I'm going to be the role player, and I'm going to be here to help some. And we're going to see what we can figure out. We're going to see. I already told you my bracket looking, my bracket's seen better days, but we're going to see what we can figure out now, because now we've cut the field down to 16. So surely we can figure this one out.
Right. This increases the possibilities. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So first of all, let's just start a rivalry game. UNC and Duke. Gonna be.
This is where we're starting.
Each other.
This is where we're starting, Brandon.
I know. We gotta just see if we can get them out the way. The hard ones out the way. This is like eating your vegetables first. Which I never do. I don't eat vegetables at all, but I'm trying something new.
This is a really tough one. This is the first time these two teams have seen each other in the NCAA tournament. And in season, they played each other 4 times, splitting wins, and 2 of those games went into overtime. So this is one of the games that I have circled on my bracket right now, because it is proven to be a battle till the end. I don't know who wins it. I have my favorites. I've enjoyed watching Duke. I've enjoyed watching Fournier. I've enjoyed what Kara Lawson is doing with this program in her first few years. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. Fournier didn't play in the last game because of an illness. But if she plays, I think Duke has it. If she doesn't play, it's UNC's game. But the thing about a rivalry game is, regardless of who plays, regardless of who's ranked what, regardless of what's at stake in a rivalry game, anybody can win because it's so personal. And you're talking about teams that have played one another how many times?
Exactly.
They know each other like the back of their hands. And so you can't pull out new tricks. We know every trick you have. And it's just going to come down to who executes at the highest level and scores more buckets. It's not personnel. It's who takes it. It's not who wants it more. It's who takes it in a rivalry game.
And in this matchup, that scoring buckets is going to be hard to come by, but especially the Duke defense is unreal. Kara Lawson, she got that figured out. And a couple of their matchups this season, it's been like, whew, I'll check the score. I'm looking at the score. I was like, are we still in the first quarter? Because they are it's like a rock fight. And I agree. I think that Toby, she is the difference maker here. For North Carolina, I really like Alyssa Utsby's game. It's just a hard
Yes.
nose, just a dog.
Yes.
Just like, I'm going
The
to go make it
dog.
happen.
By definition.
Yes, but this is a tough one. I think I'm leaning Duke. But, I mean, like you said, rivalry game, it's going to be close. And when games are close, you never know what's going to happen.
Ever. I got that one circled, though. So I'll have my
Yeah.
popcorn. I'll be in my recliner. I'll be well prepared for that game down to the end.
And I got to tell you, the tournament always reminds me, there's nothing better than basketball, like, in the middle of the day. It's just such a blessing. I'm like, oh, it's lunchtime. Maybe you just like, oh, you know, take a half day and I'm gonna go watch some high quality hoops. Some teams
What's your
battling
typical
it out.
setup?
Oh, I'm me and the dog on the couch. Got the screen. I actually got like a small TV beside the big TV so that I can catch everything that's going on. Luckily, they've split the times now, but for the first and second round games, you got to be ready.
You got to be on point.
So I got everything set up. I try to eat healthy, but not during tournament time because it's tournament time. So we're going Tostitos with limes. We're going Tostitos with lime, hint of lime, some salsa, and a nice flavored water. That's my balance. Now, some of these games I can't eat. I get like heartburn watching them, and I've been known to stand up during the games too, which is irritating to both my girlfriend and confusing to my dog. So it's a lot going on. I don't recommend watching games with me. It's a lot going on. I'm like in a defensive stance. It's a whole thing. It's not good.
Yeah. Do not disturb is a thing during March Madness.
Oh, yeah. Lose my number for these couple weeks.
Oh, yeah. Maybe April 7th, April 8th, you may be able to get in contact with me. But until then, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of the stress of March Madness, I'm from South Carolina. The next game, Maryland and South Carolina. You mentioned they've lost this season, which is typical. I need people to understand the undefeated season was extraordinary. That is not how this goes in this climate of basketball. They've lost games this season. I was at the UConn game. I drove an hour, almost 2 hours to see it, and I had to drive back 2 hours trying to process it. But still a 1 seed, taking on Maryland that survived a double overtime game against Bama. How are you feeling about the South Carolina team now that it's tournament time?
I don't want to see them. I do not want to see South Carolina at this point in the season. And I think it's really unfortunate that with the strength of South Carolina's schedule, that UConn loss is still being held against them. Right. I think this women's game, especially with the strength of all of these programs where we're seeing these duos and these trios, I think they should be challenged to play challenging schedules. And right now, I think South Carolina has been punished with the seeding. And for that reason, they are ticked off, and I don't want to see them in the Sweet 16 if I'm any team, let alone a Maryland. Right now, you're talking about a program that has gone to 11 straight Sweet 16s. I think they're like tied 5th for most straight consecutive Sweet 16 appearances. And they are playing really, really, really good basketball. Maryland had a great run where they were down by 17 and they came back. But South Carolina is not a team that you can go down by 17. You can't get yourself into that hole because they're too experienced and you will never get out of it. And so in order for Maryland to have a chance, they almost have to play great, like perfect basketball against this South Carolina team who will speed you up, who will make you uncomfortable. And they have depth and they have inside presence, perimeter presence, and they are so consistent and they'll hit the same spot over and over and over again until you fold. And for that reason, I don't want to see South Carolina. And so I have South Carolina picked in that matchup.
Do you think there was any part of Dawn Staley when she saw the seeding come out that was like, I'm happy about this because I can use this now as motivation? She would have found something no matter what because it's Dawn Staley. But do you think she was like, okay, not the number 1 overall seed. I'm going to get in this locker room and get them extra fired up?
I recently had a conversation with Dawn. It's been maybe over a year now at a conference where I had an opportunity to interview her. And she shared how she motivates her team. But something that she's very intentional about is intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. And so this is something that you can use as a carrot. But in talking to her, what she said was, who needs to get ready to go for a Sweet 16 game? Who needs to get ready to go for March? Who needs to get ready to go for a national championship? If I need to get you ready to go, you're probably in the wrong place. And so, yes, I think this helps. It adds fuel to a fire that is very well lit. But I don't think she has to do anything to get this team ready to go. They have all been there before. They know what it takes. They know that this is not something that comes around. Even at a program like South Carolina, it's not guaranteed year after year. It has to be earned day after day. And so, this will add some fire, but I don't think that's a team that she has to get pumped and ready to go. They see it in their comments every single day. There's question. Their legacy is on the line. They already got enough flaws on the schedule, and we're only in their loss column, and we're only talking about 3 losses, right? 3 losses. And so I don't think she has to get this team any more amped up and ready to go. I think they'll be good to go in the Sweet 16.
And look at who they lost to, by the way. It's not like they were losing to some heavy hitters in the nation. It wasn't like they came down here and lost to me or something. Like, they were playing some squads like you're speaking to, the strength of schedule, which you want to encourage teams to do, and they lost games. Like, that's what basketball is. Yeah, as good as Maryland was, it felt like Cheyenne Sellers and Sarah Tibiasu just did not miss a shot from late in the third quarter on. It was just an incredible performance. You're right. They have to play perfect, and very hard to play perfect against South Carolina in March. The growth of Malaysia Fulwiley, who I'm trying to get the nickname Two-Way Lace started, because you've been defending her behind off, focus on that end of the court too. As a playmaker for others now, you see the growth. And then I don't want to go on too long about them because of my South Carolina bias, but Malaysia, Sanaya Fagan, who has played her way into a WNBA draft process.
Yes.
Please talk about Sanaya.
Yes, we have to. We have to.
Like, the passing for a big, underrated, like, she's got great court vision, the jump shot, someone who is just kept plugging along and developing. And now look at her. She's going to be drafted in the WNBA draft, because she trusted the process. Just an incredible player. So good luck, Maryland. Y'all had a good run. It's going to take a perfect game. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but like I just mentioned 2 South Carolina players, they pull in a whole second starting 5 off the bench.
Malaysia's coming off the bench. So
yeah,
but credit to Maryland for what they have done in this season, and just bringing my heart great joy in that last matchup where they returned and had the big time win in overtime. And so it has been a joy to watch them. And it is very possible, because we have seen South Carolina at different points this season where they were not at their best. And we were questioning whether or not they had the ability to make it as far as they have made it at this point. And so still a very beatable team. We know that they've lost 3 times. Maryland would almost have to play perfect, but we've seen them play almost perfect many times this season. But to come off of a game that they just had a week-long break or a few days break, and then come back and the first team you see is South Carolina, gosh, it's like getting knocked down, up, and then you see a giant. It's not a small ask at all, but very possible.
Yeah, and you can never count out a Brenda Free's team, by the way. She's really good coach. So it's going to be good to see, because I am interested to see if they can pull it off. I will be standing. That's one of those games I will stand for. But I do feel pretty good about Dawn Staley. and her squad. So
Never betting against her.
No, you can't convince me to. Now this next matchup, we've been excited about all of them. This one feels like a very good, like, styles make fights type matchup. LSU, North Carolina State, two seed and a 3 seed. I mean, LSU, a team I'm sure you're familiar with in the SEC. North Carolina State, Sanaya Rivers, Isaiah James, Zoe Brooks, like they've just been incredible the past couple seasons. Final Four team last year, I believe, too. I mean, I'm going to have to lean on you a good bit for this one because I can't even begin to figure out who might come away with this matchup.
Big foe. And Sanaya, I am so here for that matchup.
Yes.
Another matchup, they're all circled on my schedule, on my bracket, but another matchup that I am here for and I will be seated and fully prepared to watch from beginning to end. Two outstanding programs that love to score the basketball. They have dynamic players that are capable of putting up just amazing numbers, competitive as well. I think it's going to come down to health. LSU has this win if they are healthy, and I think they are. I mean, when we first did seeding for the NCAA tournament, Anissa Morrow and Flau'jae Johnson were in boots, but then they came out and they had this amazing run. Right now, they're averaging 102 points in the NCAA tournament.
Ridiculous.
So they might be okay. I'm wondering if that was a little trick by Kim Mulkey just to fool some of us into thinking that they were not ready to go. But another team that's battle tested, had an opportunity to talk to Kim Mulkey about this LSU team, and she talked about what they've gone through. They've lost close games. They've had games where they've had to come back and win. They've faced top 10 opponents, which is pretty much any night in the SEC.
Correct.
Right? They've had games where they've had to play without players, right? They've experienced it all. And so they're very well prepared for this moment. And if they are healthy, I think it will land in the hands of LSU. They are just too talented. But also you got North Carolina State. And if there is any angle to attack, I think the opportunity against LSU is going to be in that point guard role. They don't have a floor facilitator. They don't have somebody that can guard or make plays at a high level from that one position. And that's where NC State has them beat. And so it's going to come down to health and also who plays in that role best.
Yeah, I was curious about LSU's health like the rest of the world. And then at halftime against FSU, I watched the first half and I was like, this is FSU's pace. I don't know if LSU has the depth to keep up with this. And they said, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Actually, we're just gonna go ahead and run away with it in the second half." And I was like, you know what? All right, y'all got it. So I'm not gonna underestimate them again. I think they pull this one off. I think this is going to be another close one. It's going to come down to late game execution. I love Anissa Morrow's motor, like nonstop. She's going to get on the boards.
A dog.
Yeah, like I just love watching her play. She's incredible. You already talked about Flau'jae, another incredible player. There's obviously talent on North Carolina State. I do kind of wonder. I expect LSU to be able to score despite NC State's defense. I don't know if there's enough consistent shooting outside of those major players we talked about for NC State to really make it happen for them. I do think it's going to be very close, but they're both super talented teams, so hard to pick, but you got to go with LSU in my opinion. For whatever that's worth, but I'm gonna be sweating this one out too. We haven't picked one yet where I'm like, oh yeah, I guarantee this is gonna happen. All of them are like, oh wait a second. So we'll see. Man, this is two of the three matchups have featured SEC teams. Let's go ahead and make it 3 out of the 4. Ole Miss, UCLA. UCLA, one of my favorite players to watch. Lauren Betts, I always wanted to be a center. I only grew to 6'1", so that didn't happen. Wasn't even close. I don't know why I thought I could. And then Ole Miss, who came in, Coach Yo, feeling disrespected by that seating, felt like they should have been hosting, and they've gone out and proven, hey, y'all might need to consider this. Who do you have between these two?
That game is going to go to UCLA if they can handle the pressure of Ole Miss. The identity of Ole Miss is to get up, pressure, raise all types of hell, make you uncomfortable, disrupt. And if they are prepared to handle that, they will be just fine in this situation. Now, Ole Miss, based on the history of the program, is only 1-21 against number one opponents. UCLA being the overall seed. Now, again, these stats do not have to remain. Ole Miss can change all of that if they hold them defensively and if they have the ability to score offensively, which is something that they haven't done very well. It's not something that they've done very well, and they haven't shot the ball extremely well. And those two things would need to happen for them to be able to tame this UCLA roster, because they're just too good from the inside out. And also their ability to get to the free throw line. If they can get some of their better players in foul trouble, then that could make the playing ground a little more even. But if that does not hold true, then UCLA should come out of this matchup fairly easy.
I think you're right. I think that you talked about the Ole Miss offense has been inconsistent at times. The shooting in particular, they thrive closer to the basket. Well, on the defensive end, you've got one of the best rim protectors in the nation in Lauren Betts. I think that's going to make it very difficult. Coach O, she's got them on the right track, and they're going to make you beat them. But I do think that just a little bit too much talent for the Bruins to not come away with this one. We were talking about number one overall seed, one of the best players in the nation. The hope is that the defensive pressure prevents them getting the ball into Betts offensively.
Disrupt, yes.
Yeah, good luck with that, though. And then even if you do manage that, you've got Tamir Gardner, you got Kiki Rice, you got all these other players. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like when Bugs Bunny was trying to stop a leak on a boat, and he's got like his finger over here, he's got his ear in this hole, he's got like toes in these holes, but there's just more leaks coming in the boat. Like, I don't know how you do it. Coach Yo, incredible season. They definitely should have been hosting a game, but I think the run ends here for them.
Agreed. So I think we're tracking pretty good.
We're doing good. We haven't disagreed. So I don't know if you should feel good or bad about that, but we're going to keep it moving to Saturday. We got another one of these repeat matchups, Notre Dame and TCU. TCU won this way back in November, I believe. This one sounds like a lot of fun, because I'm not entirely convinced that Notre Dame is not the better team. And of course, they've got Maddie Westbeld now. But TCU has looked very impressive to start the tournament. Please point me in the right direction. I'll see if I can follow.
In the words of Kevin Hart, help me, because I got nothing for you, Brandon. This is another matchup that I just can't. I don't know if we've had a matchup that can be missed, but this matchup right here is going to be a lot of fun, because you're talking about two programs with many players who have something to prove. Let's start with TCU. Right? TCU was holding tryouts. A Big 12 Division I program holding tryouts in the middle of the season just to fill a roster to be able to complete their schedule. And then you have Notre Dame, who has Olivia Miles, who just came back off of injury. She's coming back. She's missed all of the smoke that she wanted from day one, right? Not to mention the revenge run of who? Of who for TCU?
Haley Van Lith.
Say it with your chest.
The last time we saw her, she's shrugging because she couldn't figure out, like, Caitlin Clark is lighting me up. Everyone, all the memes and everything were flying, and she is like, oh, y'all must have forgot. I do this.
This one is in the air, Brandon, because either TCU is smoking hot right now. Notre Dame has played some great games. Right now, their average winning margin is by 37 points. Like, what? But at the tail end of the season, they've shown us that sometimes they can lack some consistency, some discipline, some maturity. And so if they run into this smoking hot TCU team right now and they lack any of those 3 points, it could go to TCU. It can go to Haley Van Lith, who is just on a revenge tour and annihilating anyone that gets in TCU's way. But Notre Dame, if they play the way they're capable of playing, because at one point in the season, they had the potential to be the number 1 overall seed. If they go out there and they control the tempo, if they defend the ball at a high level, if they get the ball where it's supposed to be, and the tempo and the offense is controlled by Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo, it's over. It's Notre Dame's basketball game. That's what I would like to believe. How about you, Brandon?
Oh, Mark, you asking a lot of me right now. I do know in that game, which was a long time ago, and I try not to overreact to any one game, Notre Dame was actually winning that game, I believe. And then TCU came back and had a monster fourth quarter.
Yes.
So, which doesn't help us at all, because now we're like, okay, do we get the first 3 quarters of Notre Dame or do we get the fourth quarter of TCU? I think it would be very hard, as great as Haley Van Lith is. They've got Hannah Hidalgo, Olivia Miles, and Sonia Citron that they could throw at her conceivably. And it would be hard to envision any guard in the nation really having 2 consecutive great games against that crew. And you're right, Notre Dame can get off track sometimes when they get a little too ISO happy on offense. Then things get real clogged up, gets real hard to score. I think of the 2 teams, Notre Dame has the higher ceiling. So I am leaning that way. However, I will not be stunned if TCU won, but I gotta make a strong pick. I mean, Stephen A. Smith is out here threatening to slap LeBron, so I can at least make a pick here. Okay, I'm going Notre Dame. I think they're the better team. There we go. I'm not going to slap LeBron. I'm not crazy, but I will go Notre Dame in this one.
I don't think Stephen A is going to slap LeBron either. I don't care how many boxing training sessions he takes. I think we're all smart enough to know that. I think Stephen A is as well. So I hope that comes to rest, but that's been pure entertainment. What would you do if LeBron approached you like that?
First of all, I would not have been talking about no one's parenting like that in the first place. And then you gotta, if you mess up, you've got to be a big enough person to be like, that's my bad. I messed up. I apologize. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely not going to go on a world tour talking about this, that, and the other, and this is what I would have done. That is as wild as I am. Like, I've been known to do some silly things, and I've been known to be very stubborn as well. But Stephen A, I mean, let's calm down a little bit. A little, like, you're going to slap LeBron, you're going to fight LeBron. And he did admit he would have got beat down, but I wouldn't even put that out into the universe. Let's be for real. What are we doing?
Choose peace. Just throw the right flag up. Choose peace, apologize, and let it rest.
Yeah. I mean, he was in the wrong. So I don't know. If you're in the wrong, then you can't be talking about fighting people when you're in the wrong. Even I believe that. And like I said, I'm hard-headed. So
true. Words from a wise man.
Amen. Speaking of being wrong, this is another tough one. So I might be wrong here. But an SEC matchup, Tennessee and Texas. Tennessee, Kim Caldwell with that new system. What do you think of that system, first of all? With the constant subs, they had the sub clock on during some games. Are you a fan?
It works. I'm a fan of anything that works, and I've had an opportunity to see it live and up close, and she has the depth to be able to do that. Players are bought in, and when you have depth and buy-in, you are capable of doing anything successfully. And so, it's been fun to watch. It keeps them fresh, and that puts a lot of things in questions, especially for this Texas team. Do they have the depth? Do they have the legs at this point in the season? Can they keep up? And one thing about that rotation with Tennessee is I know I can go out here and give my absolute all offensively and defensively because I'm getting a sub, whether good or bad, here momentarily. It does a lot for the confidence of the role players, the reserves as well, because they know they're going in. regardless. And so I talked to Kim Caldwell, and she said in 2 minutes she wants the ball to cross half court at least 7 to 8 times.
Oh, okay, Kim.
In 2 minutes. She wants shots to be taken in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock, and she has the personnel to be able to do that. They were leading the country in scoring. Leading the country in scoring with this successful hockey rotation that she's had over there for the Vols. And so it could be really, really good. But then you take a look at Texas, and they play a different type of basketball because they play inside out due to personnel. And so are they going to be able to survive? Are they well conditioned? And I think with the break that they've had going into the Sweet 16, that will be helpful. It's something that they've seen before. They've already played Tennessee. Two teams that are very familiar with one another, but completely different in style, but personnel wise, and they got some weapons. And so in this matchup, I'm actually taking Tennessee.
Wow.
I'm going with the depth. I'm going with the dogs. Now, don't get me wrong. Texas has plenty of depth and they have dogs, but I think at this point in the season, I'm going Tennessee. I'm going to say that they are the better team in this matchup, offensively and defensively. I watched Tennessee force 5 10-second counts in one basketball game. You may not see 5 10-second counts in the backcourt from a program in a season. They had 5 in one game against Mizzou ridiculous. Earlier this season. With that rotation, they're able to stay fresh offensively and defensively, and it's just too tough to keep up with.
This was a tough one for me, as they all have been. I sound like a broken record, I get it. But I think I would like Tennessee more with that unique style against a team they hadn't played yet. I think it's the perfect style to sneak up on someone. And it just luck of the draw. They've got a team they played before. Tennessee, it was a Tennessee pace when they played Texas earlier in the season, and Tennessee almost pulled it off. But that was the most impressive offensive game to me for Madison Booker. She looked like that was like the best day of her life, because she's used to seeing all kind of different looks. Everyone's clogging the paint against Texas. I like her to have another good game. I like Taylor Jones to have another good game. Mm-hmm. I think Texas can pull this off, but they need Shea Holly to start hitting threes. That is my one caveat. I like Texas in this one if Shea Holly can finally get back to being Shea Holly, because like she had a rough SEC tournament, has looked a little bit better in the NCAA tournament. But they really need to open up some space for Booker and Jones and Oldacre, and it's just not going to happen if Shea Holly isn't knocking down shots.
You made a valid point. If they can get some help from the outside and put some pressure on them defensively and kind of slow down the tempo of Tennessee, I think that would help Texas in this situation. I also think the X factor for them is going to be Tori Harmon.
Yes.
Her ability to defend, her offensive production in their first matchup. I feel like she is a difference maker, and I feel like Taylor Jones is the head of the monster, but I feel like Tori is the heart of the beast. And so it's going to take her to come out there and really set the tone and be fearless versus that pressure, handling it well as a primary ball handler. It is going to take the depth and the outside shooting as well. And so Tennessee is very beatable. We saw that in the SEC tournament. We saw how they have moments where they don't play up to the potential that they have, like any team in this matchup or this conversation. But I think Tori Harmon is going to be the X factor if Texas can come out and get it done. Yeah,
so slight difference on that one, which should probably worry Texas fans a lot, because Marke is Marke and I'm myself. But that's why they play the game, so we will see. Another one with some interesting play styles, Oklahoma and UConn. Oklahoma, they like to run some too, which is weird because they got Reagan Beers too. And UConn has just been drilling teams so far. Boy, Paige Bueckers last game in her home arena tied her career high. AZ Fudd looks completely healthy. Like we started with JuJu Watkins, and now we're talking about all these players who have overcome serious injuries to look incredible. So there's some hope for you JuJu Watkins fans. But UConn has looked like a monster so far. I don't see what Oklahoma has for them. Respectfully,
which is usually said before you say something disrespectful.
Yes. Because I didn't even mention Sarah Strong. Good Lord. Oh.
UConn. That's all I'm going to say. They are playing like we've always seen UConn play at this point in the season. And I know they've had a couple of seasons where they were not the UConn that we're all familiar with because of injury, because of a number of other things, right? But they're back to their old ways. And they are back to get a couple licks. And that get back is real.
Yes.
And to see Paige play the way that she's played after the last few years she's had and her experiences with injury, gosh, it does my heart well. To see Fudd do the same, it does my heart well. And to see Gino Auriemma get emotional in that press conference with Paige as they celebrated their excitement to go into the Sweet 16. But I think it really resonated that these are the last few games that he'll have an opportunity to coach Paige. She's still here. Yep. Don't trip, Gino. She's not gone yet. You guys are still here. Don't cry yet. Right. But I think this game is going to go to UConn. Way too much experience. Health is on their side. Offensive firepower, the depth, the level of play that they're at right now. I don't see Oklahoma coming out on the other side of this.
No, I'm sorry, Sooners fans, but especially with an aggressive, assertive Paige Bueckers like we've seen, like that was the one thing even Gino was complaining about, and she looks like the number one overall pick. If there was any question, she is the number one overall pick, and she looks exactly like everyone's been talking about her. She National Player of the Year as a freshman. That Paige Bueckers is back. So good luck, everybody.
And I mean, who wants to see Paige lose? I mean, after her career at UConn, the success that she's had, but also the challenges that she's had. And then to see the type of teammate that she is. I mean, the story of her and her roommate and Ramadan.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Ramadan, it starts on February 28th, and then it goes until like the 29th of March. And for those who are of Muslim faith, they don't eat from sunup to sundown. And so what Paige Bueckers has been doing, this is a phenomenal story. I just had to share.
Please.
What Paige Bueckers has been doing is she's been waking up, preparing breakfast for a roommate and teammate who is Muslim and is and this is important to her, and so that she can have a breakfast before they go to practice, before they start their day, before they have the biggest game of their seasons, potentially the biggest game of their careers, and she's making sure that she has a meal before sun up, so that she can make it through the day, still in respect for her personal beliefs. And so, and then on top of that, Paige doesn't even like to eat that early in the morning because we're talking 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning before sunup. And so Paige just makes her breakfast and then goes back to bed. And so it's the most selfless act. And how do you not show up for a teammate like that? How do you not show up when others support you like that? Truly beautiful to see, and nobody wants to see a Paige Bueckers lose a basketball game because she is that person and that player.
No, it would be a storybook ending for sure, and then also to be hooping during Ramadan. My favorite player ever, Hakeem Olajuwon, did it.
Kyrie Irving.
Exactly. I was like, well, I was a child. I did not understand like the religious implication, but I was like, I'm gonna try not to eat or drink and go play ball. I made it to like 9:30 in the morning, and I was like, I gotta get me a Pop-Tart.
Eat or drink.
Yeah, I was like, I got to get a Pop-Tart and a Squeeze It, I think was the drink back in the day, or a Capri Sun. Yes. I was like, no, I don't know how he does it. So shout out to and then like you said, waking up to make your teammate breakfast. That's your star player doing that.
Yes. Like, yes. And the whole team has been in support. And that's why it is so important for children to play sports, because the discipline, right? The character building, many and most would probably have folded, would have given in. But yeah, it takes a unique being not to. And so, yeah, shout out to Paige Bueckers and UConn. Go out there and get it done. Yeah, well run program, and want to see them continue to succeed.
Definitely. And the final matchup, Kansas State and Southern Cal. Southern Cal, again, without JuJu Watkins. Kansas State survived that overtime game against Kentucky like we were talking about. What are your thoughts on this one, Markey, as it's not quite what it was supposed to be, but they still got to play the game? You mentioned Southern Cal. They might be inspired to win it for JuJu. And they still have a lot of talent, too.
This is a game that Kansas State could win, just like any other game. Kansas State could definitely win, and we saw how well they are capable of playing. But I expect USC to rally, come together like they did in their last matchup going into the Sweet 16. Just seeing how Kiki just put on a stellar performance. Oh my gosh. You talk about LeBron. She literally put the team on her back. And I think she understands that this is something that she's going to have to do. And she's going to have to call up her teammates to show up at a level. I had an opportunity to talk to my former coach, who is the assistant coach, associate head coach at Notre Dame right now, Carol Owens. And I remember when they went on this run, and they went on a run for a national championship and had a player go down. We all know who that player was with the ACL, but they still managed to win it. And I said, how did you guys make it out? And she said, well, we just told our players, you just have to do a little bit more. And I think that's what Kiki did the other night. She realized she had to do a little bit more. And if they can get a little bit more from everybody, that will be enough to position themselves to win against a Kansas State. And I think basketball is in their favor as well. JuJu Watkins, an outstanding player, the most fun player to watch right now, I believe, in college basketball, whether we're talking men or women's. She went down. Now there's somewhat of the underdog, and to see them overcome this challenge, I think, would be a great thing for basketball. And so I'm going USC. They rally and get it done against Kansas State.
I agree, just like with Paige Bueckers, pulling for the story here. They've got the talent to pull it off. They will play inspired. We just saw them do that this last game. Kansas State has a ton of talent themselves. I mean, Ayoka Lee, before the injuries, was generational. Unfortunately, she's had the injury issues, but still unstoppable in the limited playing time. They limit her playing time to keep her healthy. And when she's on the court, that's still the same Ayoka Lee that dropped 61 on Oklahoma. Okay.
And USC better know it.
Yes. And then Tamira Poindexter did not miss, it felt like, against Kentucky. She was raining threes.
Outstanding basketball game. My goodness.
And and then Serena Sundell, a very tall, skilled point guard. Kansas State has talent, but the story here would be incredible. So I'm supposed to provide analysis, but I'm a human. And it would be nice to see USC do this and keep it moving even without JuJu, to honor JuJu. And we saw how tight-knit they were about her in that last game, like you said. So,
yeah, and if I know JuJu well, she will be in full support. It's a balance of not being a distraction, but also adding or being there to support her team while they're in the trenches. And so I know she's going to be coaching them up. She's going to be having conversations, calling up teammates, and she's going to do everything she can to be a part of what is necessary to position her teammates to win this basketball game.
1,000%. Oh my goodness, Marky, I think we did it. I think we covered all the games. I'm exhausted, but I am also energized. So now, since I did help you as the role player, I'm going to clear out and let you tell everyone where to find you, plug and promote away. Wisconsin was just like back at Northern Illinois. Marky, you got the rock. Go.
Oh, man. Well, the rock is hot. You got to get rid of it. But yeah, Marke Freeman, you can find me at Marke Free. That's MarkeFree on all social media platforms. You can also find my book, Champions Creed, The Undeniable Principles That Separate the Good from Great in Sports, Business, and Life. You can find that on all platforms, as well as my website, MarkeFreemanMedia.com. Let's stay connected.
Boom. Boom. There you have it. So that will be the episode for this week. No episode Monday. I told you we're changing things up for March Madness. But this has been another episode of Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers. Look at the guests I get. You should be subscribed. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. If you are subscribed, tell your friend to subscribe. All right. And I'll catch y'all later. That's all I got.